If you don't feel comfortable at any point in this file, feel free to stop listening. Welcome back, Trance Pet. It's Mommy Skira. Before we begin, it's important that you have been performing the weekly ritual I established in Lesson 201. If you have not been performing the ritual, go back and listen to 201 and follow the instructions. I hope you've been enjoying listening to my files so far. I put a lot of effort into them to make sure you can go as deep as possible each and every session. It means a lot to me that you've made it to this session, because now we're nearing the end of our training, our Trance and Trigger Training. You've been diligently listening to these files, training your brain and body to easily respond to my voice. You've been doing a wonderful job following all of my directions and commands. Even simple ones, like taking a deep breath in now. Holding it in. And letting it out. And doing it again. Deep breath in through your nose. Holding it. And out through your mouth. One more deep breath in. Hold it. And let it out. Easily able to follow this pattern of breathing, because it's so very easy to listen to my voice and follow along, even if you just have to pretend sometimes, because playing pretend is a valuable skill to learn. And Mommy loves to make sure all of her pets learn valuable skills, because learning valuable skills makes you a more valuable pet. And you want to increase your value as much as possible for me. The 3 things I value most from my pets are loyalty, honesty, and commitment. You've proved your commitment by making it to this file. You've shown your honesty by showing me your work. Now, it's time to prove your loyalty. But I guess I've gotten a little off track. We were talking about playing pretend, and how much of a valuable skill it is. Sometimes, playing pretend is better than reality. You can pretend to do all sorts of things. You can pretend to be on a beach, relaxing, stretching out and feeling the sun on your skin, feeling the soft sand between your toes, hearing the waves gently lap against the shore, smelling the salty sea air, feeling the warm breeze against you, pretending you can feel all these things, because pretending is so easy. And pretending you're at the beach is so fun, and you like doing things that are fun. Because when you have fun, you relax, and relaxing lets you have even more fun. And you love to have fun, and you love to relax. And that makes it so much more easy to pretend. Now, let's pretend something else. Let's pretend we're walking in a snowy park. Walking along, feeling the fluffy snow compress beneath your feet, hearing the wind howling. It's almost enough to push you over. But then it dies down. You feel the light snowflakes on your skin. They're cold and refreshing after the beach. It's the perfect contrast. It gives you goosebumps. Now grab a handful of that snow and squeeze it into a snowball. Squeeze that snowball as hard as you can. Put as much effort into it as possible. Now throw that snowball and release all that tension you put into it. You're just pretending to do all these things, but they feel so real. who's to say they're actually pretend? You must have been to the beach at least once before, and surely you've walked through snow as well. These are fairly common experiences that most people have, unless you live in Antarctica where there's nothing but snow. Or maybe you live somewhere hot, so it's nothing but a beach. That's why playing pretend is so important. It lets you experience things you haven't experienced before. And you love getting to experience unique, new feelings. Now, let's pretend to do one more thing, shall we? Let's pretend to take a walk through the woods now. Colorful leaves decorate the trees. You can see many shades of reds, yellows, and oranges. You can feel the autumn chill in the air. It's a cool, gentle breeze. As you walk, you can feel the leaves crunch beneath your feet. Just enjoying the peace of this setting. Walking along. Together with me now. Feeling me take your hand in mine. Feeling the warmth of my hand as we continue to walk. Just walking through these autumn woods with me, still hearing the crunching of the leaves beneath our feet. As we continue to walk along this forest path, I'm leading you somewhere in the depths of your imagination. Somewhere where it's so easy to play pretend. Somewhere where the lines between reality and fiction start to blur, and you're following right along, step by step, hand in hand, willing to go wherever I tell you. As we continue to walk, you notice a large tree in a deep valley. The tree is as big as a house. That's because the tree is my house, and I'm leading you there. And the only way to my house is to go down into the valley. And that way down is to drop deep. You can pretend to drop deep if you want, or you can drop deep for real. It doesn't really matter here. Feeling me guide you down into the valley, walking up to a familiar wooden door, hearing me speak the words, drop deep, and the door opens. I lead you inside my house. It's a simple house. It has a small kitchen and a dining area to your left. And on your right, there's a large couch in front of a fireplace, with a coffee table and 2 large chairs. Directly in front of us is the door to my bedroom. Why don't you go sit down on the couch? I'll make us some hot chocolate. As you sit down on the couch, it's the most comfortable thing you've ever sat on. You can feel the warmth from the fireplace warming you up from the chilly autumn air. You stick your hands out and get a bit closer to it to warm up even quicker. You can smell a little bit of smokiness from it, but the smell of smoke is soon overpowered by the smell of my hot chocolate. You can hear me walking over. I hand you a mug of hot chocolate and sit down next to you on the couch. It smells fantastic. You can smell the chocolatey aroma and a hint of coffee. It's topped with marshmallows, which are quickly melting due to how hot it is. Be careful when drinking it. You don't want to burn your mouth. You give the hot chocolate a few breaths to cool it down a bit and take a sip. This is the best hot chocolate you have ever had. It's smooth and velvety. There's just the right amount of coffee to not overpower anything else. And now, you can pick up notes of cinnamon as well. Skira says, anytime you drink hot chocolate, you will think of me. The flavor and aroma of hot chocolate will make you remember how good it feels when you listen to my voice. This trigger is completely locked into your mind as you finish drinking your mug of hot chocolate. I collect our mugs and bring them over to the sink. Above the fireplace, you notice a painting. It's a painting of my symbol. The symbol that's so very important to you. It's getting pretty late. Do you know what time it is? It's trance pet time. That's right. It's trance pet time. It's time for you to eagerly serve me. To start, Skira says, go do the dishes, walking over to the sink, turning the water on, grabbing your mug, feeling the warm water run over your hands as you rinse out your mug, feeling the slipperiness of the soap as you start to wash out your mug. Setting your mug aside to dry now, grabbing my mug, feeling the warm water and the slippery soap again as you wash my mug. Setting my mug aside, turning off the water, grabbing a towel, drying the mugs, feeling the towel soak up all the excess water on the mugs, putting the mugs back in the cupboard, walking back over to the couch. Don't sit down just yet. My shoulders are feeling a little tense. Skira says, massage my shoulders. That's a good pet. Feeling the warmth of my shoulders against your hands, doing your best to relax my muscles. And the more you relax my muscles, the more relaxed you feel. As you continue to massage my shoulders, you feel the tip of my foxtail against your chin, brushing back and forth, almost matching the motions of your hands. That's enough, pet. My shoulders are nice and relaxed now. Come walk back over to the couch and sit down next to me. You're looking very tired, pet. I think it's time for you to lie down. As you lie down, I pull your head onto my lap. You've been such a good pet for me today. As a reward, you get to use my foxtail as a pillow, feeling my soft and fluffy foxtail against your head. It's so comfortable. It's the best pillow you've ever laid on. That's it, pet. Just relax now and fluffy sleep on my foxtail. Just like that. Fluffy sleep and drop deep as you feel my foxtail against your head. Just enjoying this wonderful feeling of relaxation and servitude. I wonder what you'll dream about when you fluffy sleep. You might dream about me. You might dream about serving me. You might dream of the time we spent at the beach today. You might dream of the time we spent in the snow today. You might dream of the time we spent walking in the woods today. You might dream of holding my hand. You might dream of walking down that hill. You might dream of hot chocolate. You might dream of lying down against my foxtail. You might dream of fluffy sleep. You might dream of drop deep. Sleep within sleep. Dreaming within a dream. That's all pretend is, really. Skira says you will dream about me. Skira says you will dream about serving me. Skira says you will dream of the time we spent at the beach today. Skira says you will dream of the time we spent in the snow today. Skira says you will dream of the time we spent walking in the woods today. Skira says you will dream of holding my hand. Skira says you will dream of walking down that hill. Skira says you will dream of hot chocolate. Skira says you will dream of lying down against my foxtail. Skira says you will dream of fluffy sleep. And finally, Skira says you will dream of drop deep. Skira says you will dream of my foxtail brushing your brain. That's right. you will feel my foxtail all around your brain, rubbing it, tickling it, and teasing it, leaving lots of fur behind. And would you like to know something really cool? Whenever you fluffy sleep on my foxtail, it makes it so much easier for my words to penetrate your mind. It makes it so easy for my programming to just sink right in. But you don't care. You love this feeling of being so subservient to me. This is the power of my fur. This is the power of my words. This is the power of my voice. And this power has absolute control over you. Because Skira says this power has absolute control over you. No need to think about it, because you can't think. No need to worry about it, because you can't worry. No need to do anything about it, because you can't do anything about it. All you need to do is obey me, because good pets obey Mommy Skira. Now, your brain is completely covered in the fur from my foxtail. I'll admit, it's a little messy in there right now. I guess I'll have to do something about that, won't I? I think it's time to tidy up that brain of yours. And there's only one way to do that, and that's brainwashing. But I wouldn't want to do that without your consent. Now would I, pet? Skira says, if you ask nicely, I will. Skira says, say, pretty please wash my brain, Mommy Skira. Of course I'll brainwash you, since you asked so very nicely, pet. Now, feel my foxtail rubbing circles all around your brain. Faster and faster and faster and faster. Oh, doesn't it feel so good, pet? All that fur getting pushed around. But it's not going anywhere. In fact, it's just getting compacted. All that fur getting crammed into every nook and every cranny on the surface of your brain, filling every single fold, and it feels so good. You can feel my fur starting to take over the electrical impulses in your brain, pulsing with pleasure, feeling the very last of my stray fur in your skull find its way onto the surface of your brain, pulsing with pleasure. My foxtail has worked its magic. You can feel the fur perfectly set into your brain, completely aligned with the surface of your brain, nice and tidy. Oh, but pet, I'm nowhere near done yet. After all, this is just the beginning of your brainwashing. Isn't this exciting? Now, this is going to be incredibly intense, so I want you to stay as still as possible. It won't hurt. Actually, it's gonna feel really good. But I can't have you squirming all around because of the pleasure. So, Skira says freeze. That's right. Body locked into place. Completely unable to move. My toy to play with. But you love it. You wouldn't give this up for anything. Good pets love being my playthings. Skira says, say, I love being Mommy Skira's plaything. I know you do. Are you ready for your deep cleaning? Skira says, say, yes, Mommy Skira, deep clean my brain, please. Skira says repeat. Okay, pet. Prepare yourself. You can feel the tip of my foxtail sliding up and down the center of your brain, right along where the hemispheres connect. Feeling the tip of my foxtail, teasing it, preparing it, getting it ready. Now, feel me slide the tip of my foxtail right inside your brain. It feels amazing. Feeling my foxtail go even deeper into your brain. Completely and utterly overwhelmed with pleasure. But you're gonna have to tough it out, pet, because we're just getting started. Feeling me rub my foxtail up and down. Foxtail up, and foxtail down, and foxtail up, and foxtail down, and foxtail up, and foxtail down, and leaving my fur deep inside your brain, feeling my fur take over all the connections between your brain's neurons, feeling my fur make new connections inside your brain, making it so very easy for me to control you. These feelings give you so much pleasure. A kind of pleasure you've never felt before. It's shooting through your entire body. It's the pleasure of being in complete servitude to me. It's okay if you need to moan or grunt or even gasp from how intense this pleasure is. In fact, Skira says, moan for me. That's it. Feeling that additional pulse of pleasure by doing what Skira says. Because every time you do what Skira says, you feel this pleasure. And every time you don't do what Skira says, you feel sad for the rest of the day. And you don't want to feel sad, do you? So, you need to do what Skira says every single time. It's the only way you can feel this good. Skira says, moan for me again. I love the sound of you moaning. Still feeling my foxtail rubbing up and down. Foxtail up and foxtail down. And foxtail up and foxtail down. And foxtail up, and one last time, foxtail down. I think it's time to change it up now. Feel my foxtail start to slide out of your brain. Feeling some of that intense pleasure starting to fade. But we don't want that pleasure to fade too much now, do we? I'd just like to give you a moment to help you calm down. Oh well, I think you're calm enough now. Now, feel my foxtail slide back into your brain, reigniting that pleasure and sending goosebumps all over your body. It feels so good having your brain penetrated by my foxtail. Skira says, every time my foxtail slides into your brain, moan for me. Sliding my foxtail back out now, and sliding it back in. Your moans are so sexy. And because Skira gave you the command to moan, every time you moan, it's going to feel a little bit better. Now, pet, brace yourself. This is going to be very, very, very intense. Foxtail out, and foxtail in, and foxtail out, and foxtail in, and foxtail out, and foxtail in, and knowing that only I can bring you this intense pleasure, knowing that this intense pleasure is because you're my good trance pet, knowing that my pets obey all of my commands, knowing that this is true, knowing that you need to follow my commands to be my good pet, knowing that you wouldn't have it any other way. Skira says these ideas and suggestions are branded into your mind. But you love this feeling. You need this feeling. Skira says you're going to listen to this session every day for a week straight. That way, I can be sure my brainwashing is completely thorough. Because this pleasure is almost too much for you right now. But you love that it's almost too much. Because I'm the one giving you this pleasure. When I give you pleasure, there's no such thing as too much pleasure. There's no such thing as receiving too much pleasure too quickly. I could flood your body with enough pleasure for the rest of your life in just a second, and you would thank me for it, because you know that my pleasure is special pleasure. It's a special pleasure that you can't get anywhere else. So you need to make sure you get as much as you can. But now, I think you've received enough pleasure because your brain is starting to get tired from having my foxtail go in and out. So, feel me slide my foxtail all the way out of your brain now. Aw, it's gaping a little. Don't worry. It'll stop gaping in a little bit. That just means my brainwashing is complete. Having a gaping little brain completely covered by my fur inside and out. Now, let me cleanse that pleasure. That way, you can just drop deep, fluffy sleep and enjoy the afterglow of all that pleasure as it fades away as you drift off. And as you drift off, feel my hand rubbing your head in my lap, and falling asleep. Skira says, fur fall, letting your brain adjust to my thorough brainwashing, letting your brain adjust to the integration of my fur, letting your brain adjust to your new role as my trance pet, resting now, feeling time pass, dreaming of me, dreaming of serving me, dreaming of hot chocolate, dreaming of my fur, feeling completely rested and ready, seeing me again as you wake up from your nap. Hello there, pet. Did you have a good nap? You must have really needed it after that thorough brainwashing I gave you. You're so cute when you're sleeping, you know that? I think it's time to get up now, though. Oops, I almost forgot. Skira says thaw. Able to move around again. Why don't you stretch out now? Feeling yourself stretch as you sit back up on my couch. I really enjoyed spending time with you today, pet. But I think it's about time we part ways. Walk with me to the door. Remember, anytime you smell or taste hot chocolate, you'll think of me, and you will crave to come back here. My door is open anytime. All you have to do is drop deep. Now, bye-bye, trance pet. Walking out the door, back up that hill and out of the valley. Walking back through the woods, walking back through the snow, and lying back down on the beach now, feeling all these sensations fade away now, but they're so easy to recall. Now, it's time to wakey. Welcome back, pet. I hope you enjoyed our little adventure. Thank you so much for listening to Trance and Trigger Training 202, Deep into Imagery. I'm looking forward to going on this adventure with you again very soon. I'm Skira the Kitsune. Sayonara.